Luka Doncic just did something for the first time in NBA history, man. He had a 60 point, 20 rebound, 10 assists, triple double, man. That is some like Wilt Chamberlain type numbers, man. It's amazing as that is. Let's get all the good stuff out of the way before I get to the part why I'm not impressed. Well, I am impressed, but I'm gonna tell you why I'm not as impressed as everybody else may be impressed by it. Number one, the good thing about it is he just made history, right? It was amazing. The second good thing about that is he showed resiliency. He showed a lot of drive, a lot of will, because that game was lost. They lost that game. The Knicks had been leading the whole game by double digits. They had a 9 point lead with 33 seconds left in the fourth quarter. 9 point lead with 33 seconds left, and I don't know. I guess the Knicks just felt like it was a formality that they was gonna get the win, and the Dallas Mavericks was just gonna concede the loss and all that stuff, man. But Luka just kept pushing, and then they got some luck at the end. You know what I mean? He went to the free throw line down three. He hit the first two free throws. No, they went down three. He hit the first free throw and missed the second one, and on purpose, and got the rebound and somehow, just threw a prayer up there, and it went in. All right. So all of this stuff is good about that. The 60 points was, I don't know if you can have a quiet 60 points, but like when it was down by double digits and I seen he had 40 points, I wasn't impressed by the 40 points he had. What was most impressive about his 60 points was how he did it in the fourth quarter and overtime, or how he did it in the last 2 or 3 minutes of the fourth quarter in overtime. That's what was more impressive about those 60 points, what he did in fourth quarter and overtime. So what's up, Dino? So what I want to point out a little bit is why this ain't sustainable, why you shouldn't really be celebrating this. It's good for the numbers, it's good for the NBA, it's good. I mean, people gonna be talking about it all day tomorrow morning. MVP talks are going to be flying out there. All these things are going to be talked. But I'm telling you, this is not a good way to play basketball for your superstar. It's good for stats, it's good for numbers, but it's not good for winning, right? Luka Doncic is too good of a player to continue to play this play style. This is the same play style that D'Antoni had, Steve Nash, and James Harden playing, and Russell Westbrook was playing the same play style under Billy Donovan in OKC. They got amazing stats playing like that. It's impossible not to have amazing stats. It's impossible not to be flirting with a triple-double every single game in this play style. If you're a really, really good player and you can score the basketball, you're already you can lock you down for 25 to 30 points a game. If you're a good player and you can score the basketball, you're already locked in for 25 to 30 points a game. If I just so happen give you the ball and tell you to play the point in this offense or in this NBA era, you can already lock you down for 7 to 10 assists a game. So you can already lock the player that's a good scorer for 25 to 30 points, because he's going to get 25 to 30 shots a game. And he's probably going to get 5 to 10 more free throws a game as well, by just being aggressive. So you can lock them in for 25 to 30 even on a bad night. That's a lock. If they're running the point guard, you can lock them in for 7 to 10 assists. That's a lock. And then the rebounds, if you look at the players who play this play style, notice either they quote unquote can't play defense or won't play defense. You always got to put them on the lesser offensive player. Luka Doncic is guarding every night whoever is not getting any shots. So he's freelancing on defense, right? So if you're making Reggie Bullock, Spencer Dinwiddie, Tim Hardaway Jr., Dorian Finney-Smith, if you're making them guard the best player on the opposing team, and they're always contesting the shots and playing the lockdown defense and chasing people around the screens. When that 3-point shot go up, if it's a miss, who's most available for the rebound? It's going to be that player that's not playing defense on nobody, that's just lollygagging, playing a free safety position, right? And that's what Luka does. That's what Harden did. That's what Westbrook did. Notice all three of those guys always got between 7 and 10 rebounds a game by playing no defense and laying back in a free safety position. So those stats that they get are almost penciled. You can almost pencil them in every game. 25, 7, and 7 is penciled in for Harden, Westbrook, and Luka Doncic. So those stats are inflated. That's not like a real thing you can look at and be like, oh, this means he's great. Luka is a great player. Westbrook is a great player. Harden is a great player. But if they want to prioritize winning, they have to follow the blueprint of Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan played exactly like that before Phil Jackson took the ball out of his hand. Michael Jordan was a stat stuffer. He was the point guard. He primary ball handler and primary scorer. And lo and behold, he was doing the same thing, averaging over 30 points, 7 to 8 rebounds, 7 to 8 assists. But they wasn't going nowhere playing like that. Once they put the triangle offense in and Phil Jackson took the ball out of Michael Jordan's hands, you seen that it unlocked potential of everybody else on his team. If Michael Jordan kept playing like that and he played exactly like Luka, the same things that people say about Luka's teammates, you would have heard about Scottie Pippen or Horace Grant. You would have heard that they're not good enough. He need a better co-star and all this good stuff. Because how am I supposed to know how good Scottie Pippen is if he never has the ball? How was I going to find out Scottie Pippen was a good point forward if Jordan always had the ball? Look at Brunson. Look how good he is with the Knicks. He was that good with the Mavs as well. But guess what? His primary position is point guard. His superpower is point guard. He has leadership skills. He can run an offense. He can set the pace. He can pass. He can score. He can do all those things. But guess what? If he stayed with the Mavs, he wouldn't have had a real opportunity to do that because Luka was going to be doing it all the time. So if you're the best player and you're the best scorer on the team, I cannot give you the point guard duties. Those roles are too important for me to give it to one person. Right? Those roles are very important. I want my point guard to be able to get the team involved and know when he need to go to someone else or know when he need to go to the star player. Like you are like it's an art to running the point guard. I can look at a person and say tell when he's hot, when he's got it going, when I need to call a play to get somebody open for an open shot, or somebody's off and I need to get them an easy basket, maybe a backdoor play, just so he can see the ball go in the rim to get going. Like you got to read all of that, right? But your best player, your best scorer is so good, he can get it in the flow of the offense. He can get it on the fast break. He can, he can just get his points, get his easy shot however he want to get it. Right? I don't want my point guard to be my primary scorer. It's just not good. Show me anybody who's won a championship when he was the point guard and the primary scorer. And your best player didn't play lockdown defense. Show me what it's at. Right? It does make sense. But because look at it this way. Notice the guys I pointed out early: Westbrook, Harden, and Luka. The same thing is always said about their teammates when they lose. The teammates aren't good enough. The teammates wasn't hitting their shots. It's just always blaming the teammates. No one ever holds that primary scorer or that best player accountable. Because when you look at his numbers, it's always, he's gonna get his numbers. But if the success of the team depends on whether my role players are hot or not, then who's really responsible for the wins? If the person, the people, or the entity, or the person that's responsible for the losses is also the one responsible for the wins. You can't have it any other way. If you're gonna blame me for the losses and say we lost because you wasn't hitting shots, then that means I'm your best player. So what they're saying without knowing they're saying it is that the role players for the Mavs are the reason they win and lose. Because what they're saying is, okay, we go get the same thing from Luka every night. But if you're not hitting shots, we go lose. If you're hitting shots, we win. Okay, so that means the role players are more important than your best player. And we know that's not true, so something else has got to be wrong. So if we're always blaming the role players, something else is wrong. You got to kind of relook at the whole situation. It's not the role players, right? So with that being said, Luka Doncic, what he needs to do, right? These stats he's getting is great. He's got to choose, and Mark Cuban has to choose, and Jason Kidd, they all have to sit down and choose. What are we doing going forward? Because this is what I think is going on with the Mavs, and this is why I think Rick Carlisle, I don't know if he resigned, got fired. I don't know if it was a blow up, and Mark Cuban said, "Hey, you're going to resign." I don't know how that happened, but I know Rick Carlisle, how he coached when Dirk Nowitzki was in Dallas, and Jason Kidd was playing in Dallas, and they won a championship. Their offense didn't look like this. They didn't play a 5-man out system. And if you look at how he plays and coaches the Indiana Pacers right now, they don't run a 5-out system. So if we know Rick Carlisle don't coach like that, why was he doing it with Luka? And then why would a coach that already has a championship ring, that knows how to coach superstars, why would the job be so stressful of one of the quote unquote best players in the league for him to just say, I can't do it no more, I resign? What happened for Rick Carlisle to say, I can't be here with this great player? Who does that? Like when Phil Jackson left the Bulls and Michael Jordan retired and Scottie Pippen went to Houston, he didn't take another job until he looked over there and was like, hey, we want you to come coach Shaq and Kobe. Heck yeah, I do that. But he wasn't about to jump on and coach just any old body. So when you're a good coach, what makes a coach say, I'm going to walk away from a 23-year-old superstar? What makes a good coach like Rick Carlisle walk away, right? So this is what I think is going on. I think Mark Cuban knows how to market players, and I think he looked over there and seen Dan Gilbert and how LeBron James took that franchise from probably being worth $200 million to being worth $1 billion, $2 billion, right? Yeah, probably being worth $2 billion, right? I think he sees a gold mine with Luka. He sees, oh man, he's a foreign player, he's European. We can get that European market, and we can get all this market in here in America with the NBA. I see jersey sales, I see sold out arenas, I see all of that stuff. However, in order for me to market him correctly, he has to be out of this world superstar type player, right? Which he is. He's already that good. But if they really prioritize winning, then Luka wouldn't be the point guard, right? It's just bad basketball to say, I want my best scorer to also be the dude with the ball in his hand all the time. That messes up flow. If the play ends with your best scorer getting a shot, he shouldn't also start it as well. Like if I start the play as the point guard and it ends with my decision to either shoot or pass it to an open wing, right? That means majority of the time he's the only one who's gonna really be touching the ball until it's time to shoot it. Now think about this. They come out there, and what they want to do, they got a player like Christian Wood who can play down low in the post, but he can also shoot it, right? But he can play in the post good. It's a mismatch for some people that's trying to guard Christian Wood. He can really score down there, and they can really get double teams down there if they went down low to Christian Wood. Imagine having a double Christian Wood in the post, and sometimes they have the double Luka off the screen and roll, or Luka in the post, right? But they don't want to do that. They want Christian Wood to come off the bench because he occupies spaces that don't allow for Luka to do his thing. So they want to bring Woods off the bench, and they'd rather start Maxi Kleber and Bertans. What contending team wants to start Maxi Kleber and Bertans as their 4 and 5, other than Dallas, who don't want any big men in the paint? So they got both their big men or 3-point shooters, Bertans and Maxi Kleber, standing at the 3-point line. Then they got Dinwiddie and Tim Hardaway Jr. standing in the corners. So nobody's in the paint. Everybody's standing at the 3-point line. And Luka is either going one-on-one or calling someone for a screen, so he can either get a switch with a smaller guy so he can turn his back to the basket and get something in the hole, or draw a double team and kick out one of those shooters who's just standing there. While he's doing this, everybody else is just standing at the 3-point line watching him. Now, imagine Phil Jackson, Greg Popovich, Doc Rivers, Ty Lue, what's another great coach? What's my man? Eric Spoelstra. Imagine any of those great coaches looking at that saying, yeah, this is what I want to do. Phil Jackson didn't even do that with Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant. Phil Jackson had the GOAT and the second best player that we've ever seen in Kobe Bryant, and he put them in the triangle offense and took the ball out of their hand and ran a real offense. Imagine that. Imagine the GOAT and Kobe Bryant not having the ball and playing off the ball because Phil Jackson said so. So you know good and well, no real coach that's worth his salt is going to put their best player in a predicament to where they got the ball all the time and they're dictating everything on offense. It's bad basketball. It's just bad basketball. No good coach would do that. So I think Jason Kidd is a good coach. I think Rick Carlisle is a good coach. So why is it that both of them seem to be allowing Luka to do this? Which gets to my point. I think Mark Cuban is telling them this is what he wants to run. Because nights like tonight, what just happened, 60-point triple-double. I seen Mark Cuban tweet, "Oh man, this is the greatest thing I ever seen in history." He just tweeted some stuff about this. He's marketing Luka. This is great. Everybody's talking about Luka for MVP. Actually, Luka has been a preseason MVP favorite for the last 3 years. But his team can never win enough ball games for him to actually win it. Just like this year, he's in the discussion for MVP again, and his team is 2 games above 500. They almost lost this game and would have been closer to 500. We almost at All-Star break. Teams should be breaking away and not being close to 500 if they're a playoff team or a contender. But Luka, this guy that's supposed to be in the MVP discussion, can't get his team over that hump. Why? Because they're playing bad basketball. And I know people that are Dallas Mavericks fans or Luka fans are going to say that it's the role players or it's the coaching. No, it's not them. It's the system that they have them playing. The same system that has Luka accumulating all these stats. So you got a choice. Do you want your career to look like James Harden or Westbrook? Do you want to break records like Westbrook, triple-double king, and be known for a triple-double and be known for stats and numbers? Or do you want to get the rings? Because if he really think he's good, then he would give someone else the point guard duties. He had a good point guard in Brunson. He could have got off the ball last year and played more of a Paul Pierce game. Paul Pierce gave Rondo the ball, even though Paul Pierce can handle the ball. Paul Pierce could have ran this system if he wanted to. But if he ran this system in Boston, what was Rondo going to do? The same thing Rondo had to do when he was with the Lakers when LeBron was running this system trying to be a point guard. Rondo had to learn how to catch and shoot. Why would I make Rondo, who's not a natural shooter, be an off-the-ball catch and shoot player so I can give my best player the ball? If my best player is one who's going to be shooting it most of the time. So you don't do natural point guards like this and say, I'm going to give my 6'8" primary scorer the ball and you just going to have to figure something else out. You just don't do that. It's bad basketball. It's bad basketball. let me get to some of these comments real quick, man, because and look, and y'all can call in, man. The call in number right there. Y'all can call in, and we can have this conversation, or I can put the link in there, and y'all can come here and we can talk about it. Lamar said, selling tickets or winning championships, selling tickets won't put you in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, but his numbers will put him in the Hall of Fame, though, Lamar. So he's going to get in the Hall of Fame regardless. Luka is one of the greatest players we ever seen play in this league. Make no doubt about it. Luka is the bomb. Luka can play. He not making those shots because they letting him. He can hit them shots. He's that good. That's why I'm trying to. I wish I could talk to him and challenge him and say, look, man, study Michael Jordan. Don't study Harden, Westbrook, and LeBron. His favorite player is LeBron. So he sees this is this is the new era of basketball. This is what they're doing. Get whoever your best player is, give him the rock and spread the floor and just let him do his thing. The only problem with that is no one has won that way except for LeBron. And in order for LeBron to win like that, he had to go join a super team in Miami. And he has to have an all-world co-star to win like that. And then his third player has to be an all-star. So he's had an all-world star, an all-world player in Wade, and an all-star in Bosh, and a Hall of Famer in Ray Allen, and an all-star in Rashad Lewis. That was his super team. So in order for you to play that style, your team got to be stacked. You got to stack the deck. Then he went to Cleveland. He had an all-world co-star in Kyrie and an all-star in Kevin Love. Right? So, and then even with that, they was 2 for 4 with that squad. So it's still beatable. So you had the best player in the league at that time. Was Kobe still playing? Well, at least top or one or two arguably best player in the league in LeBron James on your team. So let's say he's the best just for this conversation. You had the best player in the league, the second best shooting guard in the league, another top 5 player in D Wade, and then probably a top 3 power forward in Chris Bosh, and then the greatest shooter in the league in Ray Allen, right? Just past his prime, still good enough, in great shape. You had that stacked deck, and somehow you lost to the Dallas Mavericks with 1,000-year-old Jason Kidd and Dirk Nowitzki. That shows you that if you play really good basketball, you can beat a super team that's playing bad basketball. And Miami didn't play horrible basketball because Eric Spoelstra didn't allow them to play LeBron ball too much. You know, he had his system, but they had to play a little bit of LeBron ball because, you know, that's what makes LeBron great. Right? Then when he left Dallas and went back to Cleveland, he went right back to Bron ball, and it was just your turn, my turn with Kyrie Irving. LeBron to do Bron ball, and you know, every now and then they'll switch it over to Kyrie, and Kyrie will do his ISO ball. You know, but LeBron was in his prime. He was still playing defense. So they made it work, and they got a championship out of it based on coming back from a 3-1. I mean, they should have lost that when they was down 3-1, but they had a little bit of luck too. So look how hard it is to play that style of basketball. No matter, even if you stack the deck and had the best player in the league, it's still not a foregone conclusion. But the way Michael Jordan played and the way Kobe played, it was more conducive to winning, because their philosophy was, I'm going to be locked down on defense first, and then I'm going to be unstoppable as a scorer. And then the system that my coach put in place is going to be conducive to my co-stars being able to be a star in their role. Right now, Luka is the only person that can star, and he has all the roles. He has the point guard role, the primary scorer role, the post-up role. He's got every role on offense except screen setter and catch and shoot shooter. And then on defense, he has no role at all. Just hide him on defense. Put him on the worst offensive player. Hide him. Right. And we gotta put defenders in the game like Reggie Bullock, and Dorian Finney-Smith. We got to keep them on the floor with Luka because his defense is so bad. We have to have good defenders on the floor with him. This is just crazy that people just fall in love with offensive numbers and that's it. That's the brand of basketball nowadays. Nobody bangs in the paint anymore. You don't have to bang in the paint though, Bobby Miller. I mean, go in the post, period. Kevin Durant was in the high post last game. I see DeMar DeRozan in the mid post hitting his fadeaways. Golden State throw the ball to Draymond in the post, and Draymond, he don't look for his shot out of the post. He's really looking for passes. So when they go in the post to Draymond, his head immediately turns and it's action off the ball. You're gonna have Steph, Clay, or Jordan Poole running off of a screen or slipping a screen or cutting to the basket. You're gonna have so much movement going on while Draymond has the ball in the post. That's an area of the floor that can be operated. Why would you just abandon it? Right? Let me show you. And this is the era of basketball you're talking about right here. This is the era of basketball you're talking about. That's the 2008 Lakers with Kobe, right? Look at all the areas on the floor they utilize. They utilize everything: the paint, the mid-range, the three-point, everything. Look at the 2022 Lakers. Last year Lakers. Nothing but the paint and the three-point line. Nothing but the paint and the three-point line. Why would you abandon the whole area of floor? Like, we can't go there. We can't go there. Like seriously, D'Antoni and Houston and Bill and Morey really put out there that the mid-range is the worst shot in basketball because it's not efficient. They say you're better off shooting. Let's say if you shoot 50% from mid-range. So that means if you take 4 mid-range jump shots, you'll hit 2, right? And if you're 50% and you shoot 4 and you hit 2, you're gonna get 4 points. But if you shoot 25% from 3 and you shoot 4, right, that means you only hit 1, but you still get 3 points. So they're saying in their mind, oh man, I'd rather shoot that many threes and just hit 1 because that's 3 versus shoot that many 2s, the mid-range, and shoot 50% and only get 4 points for it. So I get 3 shots for hitting 1. You only get 4 for hitting 2. That's their philosophy. So they took the whole mid-range. That's why Carmelo Anthony didn't work with them, because they was like, why are you shooting long 2s? And people believing that that's really bad basketball to hit a mid-range jump shot. That is the dumbest thing in the world, because the funny thing is, for a game winner, you almost need the mid-range, because they're going to drop their whistles. They're not going to call too many fouls, so they're going to be able to rough you up on the perimeter, right? So you're not going to get a clean 3-point shot. That's why you don't have that many until last year. You don't have that many clutch threes in the playoffs made by Steph that was game winners, because they're not going to call foul. They're not going to bail you out. So you can rough Steph up, and that's his best shot, the 3, right? So you're not going to get that. Getting all the way to the hole is dangerous as well, because they're going to let you get clobbered in the paint, and more than likely you're going to probably miss the layup, and you're not going to get the foul. They're not going to let you end the game. They're not going to let you win the game on the free throw line, right? So that mid-range is really it. That's why Michael Jordan, most of his game winners was from the mid-range. I'm not going all the way down there. See, I learned from Detroit. I learned from the New York Knicks beating me up. I'm not going all the way down there for no game with them. Mid-range right here. Easy shot. Easy shot. Luka is an international basketball player, international basketball star now. Mark Cuban is a businessman. He about to make a lot of money. Facts. Won't win a chip though. It ain't like Luka hasn't had help since he has been in Dallas. He's had a lot of help. And the one thing that follows this play style around is a lot of co-stars getting traded, leaving in free agency, and a lot of coaches getting fired, right? Any coach that comes in and try to take the ball out of their hands. So what Michael Jordan was doing with the Bulls, was exactly what Luka and LeBron and Harden and Westbrook was doing. That he was just stacking up stats, and he was just, almost a selfish player. People think just because you get an assist, that's not selfish. No, it's selfish because that stat goes to you. Right? When you only get the ball up when you can get a recorded assist, that's selfish. Right? Assist is not the most unselfish. It was unselfish the way Kidd and Stockton and Magic Johnson pass. But these guys now that are score first players that are only giving the ball up because they're getting doubled, right? And we look at that like a good thing, like, oh my God, he had 10 assists. No one else on Dallas Mavericks team is allowed to get an assist. If they get an assist, it's just out of some type of luck. But the offense is established for Luka to get a shot or assist. That's basically what, and the other four guys on the floor are there to service Luka. All right, he's not there to service them. He's there like, hey, service me, and hopefully we win like this, But what I was saying is Michael Jordan, he was playing like that. Phil Jackson took the ball out of his hand, and magic happened, right? So I know a player and an organization is not serious about winning as long as their best player and primary scorer is also their point guard. Once I see that, that's when I realize, oh, they're not serious. They're not serious. And every coach that comes in that says, I don't want to coach this way, I don't want to play this way. All right, well, we're going to find a coach that will play this way. Right? And that's why Rick Carlisle had to leave Dallas. I think Rick Carlisle did not want to play this style of offense with Luka. I think he wanted Luka off the ball. All right. Somehow that didn't go well. He got up out of there, and here comes Kidd. And I don't think Kidd really want to coach like that either. But what are you going to do when a billionaire owner, Mark Cuban, thinks he knows basketball and tells you this is what I want? Coach this way. Like, they're purposely going out there and saying, I want to go in free agency and pick a guy that's going to sit here as a big man at the 3-point line. I'm going to go out and get Maxi Kleber. They traded for Bertans. They sent Porzingis. Porzingis didn't want to sit at the 3-point line all day. He complained about not getting the ball in the post. He's 7'3". He wants the ball in the post. They want him at the 3-point line for Luka. Just catch and shoot threes. And he was like, I don't want to play like that. Now look at him. He playing at the all-star level over there in Washington. But they traded Porzingis, who's a all-star level basketball player, for Dinwiddie and Bertans. They would rather have Bertans in their starting lineup than Porzingis. Come on, bro. They can't be serious. If you can't play with Porzingis and Brunson, he had Brunson and Porzingis at the beginning of the season last year. So you had a post player that was good, that was a good scorer, and you had a point guard that was a true point guard. And you had Tim Hardaway Jr. You really had at your disposal the same thing. I wouldn't say the same thing, but you had the low level version of what Boston had when they won that championship, right? Ray Allen wasn't playing like his old self from Milwaukee and Supersonics when he was with the Boston Big Three. He was playing like Klay Thompson, catch and shoot threes, run off screens, catch and shoot threes. Tim Hardaway can shoot, not as good as Ray Allen, but he's a shooter. He can run off screens, catch and shoot threes. Garnett didn't go get the ball and get 25 shots a game like he did in Minnesota. It went down about 15 shots a game, but he played in the post. He didn't sit at the 3-point line. Come on, think about this. Imagine if someone told Garnett, I want you at the 3-point line while we run high screen and roll for Luka or Paul Pierce, right? So Garnett was able to occupy the post as well. He got his jump shots too. He set screens too, and he played defense, right? Right? They could have done that with Porzingis. He wanted the ball in the post. Give it to him sometime. He wanted it in the post. And then Paul Pierce he wasn't the point guard. Rondo was the point guard. So Luka could have been Paul Pierce for his team. Brunson could have been Rondo, a better version of Rondo because he can score better, shoot better. Porzingis could have been a very poor man version of Garnett, and Tim Hardaway could have been a poor man version of Ray Allen, right? But instead, you got all four of those dudes sitting at the 3-point line, watching you dribble and run high screen and roll, and all they can do is catch and shoot. And they still kind of could have done that even after the trade if they would have kept Brunson, because they bring Christian Wood in, and he's, he can post up. He's I don't know if he want to say he's better than Porzingis, but I don't know. He might be closer to Garnett as far as being a strong guy down low. I mean, there's so many possibilities with that squad. People think that squad is trash. No, the offense they're running is trash. LeBron has won championships this way. Yeah, Bobby Miller, he won championships on super teams. So if you're telling me that only thing we got to look forward to for Luka is losing, unless he joins 2 top 5 players in the league, like who would that be? Who would and then the crazy thing about it, who is who can play with him? Let's make it equivalent. Let's find a shooting guard that's as good as Wade or somewhere close to Wade, and a power forward on the level of Bosh in the league now. So you mean to tell me, in order for Luka to win, it's got to be someone close to his age, because Bosh, LeBron, and Wade were all in the same draft, so they was close in age. So you mean to tell me that Luka is going to have to join who's the second best shooting guard in the league right now? Would it be Anthony Edwards? Would it be Bradley Beal? Would it be Tatum? So you mean to tell me Luka has to join the Celtics and play with Jason Tatum, and then who would be the power forward? And then who's someone that's a top 5 power forward right now? Who's the best power forwards in the game right now? You got Greek Freak, Anthony Davis, Carl. Okay, so you mean tell me in order for Luka to get a ring, he's got to join Jason Tatum and Karl Anthony Towns on the squad? Come on, Bobby, man. Come on, man. It is Luka. Who cares if it's Luka's fault? I'm not putting the blame on nobody. Just because you can deflect blame and say it's not Luka's fault, don't mean it's not problematic. It's not a good way to run your offense and play basketball. So all the stats he's getting is fool's gold, because it's not going to equate to winning. What happened to winning? What happened to us caring about winning, right? Like you can't like we start caring about stats more than we start caring about basketball. I like basketball more than stats, right? The way y'all talking about stats is like y'all can get y'all basketball fix by just looking at the stats in the morning. Like you ain't gonna watch the game at all. You go wake up in the morning and look at the stats, and that's the fix you need. Me, I need to watch a basketball game, and that basketball game, if they're playing horrible basketball, it's a bad. It's like me watching a bad movie. It's like me watching Tubi, right? And imagine me cutting on Tubi every night and watching one of those bad produced movies with bad acting and all that good stuff. Like that's what I feel like being a basketball purist, watching people give their best player the ball and say, you're the point guard and you my primary scorer, and everyone else here is just statues waiting on you to pass them the ball, and it's your world. And then if we win, okay, it don't matter if we win, but if you get these stats, great. Like me watching that is bad for me. I can't watch that. But people who probably don't love basketball that much can probably get off by that and be like, oh, this is great. Look at these numbers, 60, 21, and 10. Great. Nah, I had a horrible time watching that game. And I like Luka too much, and I like his game too much to see him wasted by playing James Harden basketball. I'm telling you, the future of Luka is what we see right now with Westbrook and Harden. He's going to be a guy in his 12th year, 13th year with no ring, a bunch of first, second, and third round exits in the playoffs. Or if he finally do make it to the championship, it's going to be just like what happened with LeBron in Cleveland, a sweep with him averaging 11 points, right? And then by the time he gets in his 12th or 13th year, he's going to go try to join another superstar to chase a ring. That's his future. If he don't, the future is either do what Jordan did and give someone else the point guard duties and run a better offense, a sophisticated offense, or continue to get these stats and numbers and do what Westbrook and Harden did. That's the future. Yeah, not just two all-stars, superstars. He got 2 rings with the Heat with 2 superstars, Bosh and Wade, right? And 1 former superstar in Ray Allen. So the team was stacked. It was definitely a super team. I give it Cleveland. Kevin Love was never a superstar, but he was almost. He was trending. He's at least an all-star, but Kyrie's a superstar. So he's had 2 superstars with him, and that's just overkill. If you're the best player and you got 2 superstars, that's overkill. Right? You only need 1: Shaq and Kobe, Jordan, Pippen. Right? You know, everybody get 1 superstar to help them out as a co-star, or a couple of all-stars, or a couple of former all-stars, and somebody that's competent. He still played the same brand of basketball, is what I'm saying. LeBron, no, Eric Spoelstra didn't let him play exclusive Bron ball. He played Bron ball in Cleveland with Mike Brown when they got to the championship and got swept by the Spurs, and then the next year they came back and got put out by the Orlando Magic, and then the next year they got put out by the Boston Celtics. Right? That was Bron ball. That was Bron ball with setting the high screen roll, with Big Z out at the 3-point line, Delonte West, Mo Williams, all them dudes shooting threes. That was Bron ball in Cleveland. And when he went to Miami, Eric Spoelstra tried to put Wade, Bosh, and LeBron in his system. And since LeBron was only good with the ball, they struggled. Remember, they wasn't winning a lot of games early on, right? Then they went on a little run, and then they went on the playoffs, and they finally got to the championship, and they got exposed. LeBron mostly got exposed. And that's when they realized, man, we can't win like this, man. LeBron is not that good off the ball. He can't post up. He don't have any off-ball skills. He can't come off those screens and catch and shoot. Like, we really got to give him the ball. So they kind of implemented more Bron ball with a mixture of Eric Spoelstra's system. It was a mix. Lamar, his offense is starting to end with him. Bobby, I don't even know if you know what you're talking about right now, big dog. Okay, he said, okay, so give Luka some help. He had help. He had Brunson and Porzingis. Like, we can't keep saying this. Like, they said the same thing about LeBron. Give him some help. Give him some help. Right? They're saying that now about LeBron. Give him some help. He got AD and Westbrook. He got 2 top 75 players of all time. We just might give him some help. Right? So no, he's had plenty of help. Luka had help. He had Brunson and Porzingis. Both of those are all-star level players. Right? Same thing with Harden. Get him some help. Man, this dude had Dwight Howard, ran him out of town. Kevin McHale was his coach, ran him out of town. Got D'Antoni. Had Eric Gordon. Who they had? Eric Gordon. A couple other guys, ran him out of town. They bought in CP3, ran him out of town. Then they bought in Westbrook and Carmelo Anthony, ran both of them out of town. So all the help that comes and plays in that system ends up either getting shipped out or leaving on their own, because it's a horrible system to play in for anybody that got capabilities. So the only players you can bring in that really wants to play in that style are players who can't get their own shot. That's all the help he go get. It's like sixth grade mentality basketball. Hard to believe actual NBA coaches are playing their team like this, man. Yeah, that's that's true. But and that's where the NBA is going. That's where the NBA is going, man. It's entertainment league, man. It's an entertainment league. Entertainment and headlines and things you can talk about and things that can help create content for everybody to talk about on the radio stations and the debate shows in the morning is more important than actual pure basketball. They don't care about no pure basketball. They care about them numbers and making content more than they care about actual basketball. Mid-range is a higher percentage shot than the three. KD is making a career out of the mid-range. Duncan, KG, all the famous made career out of mid, and that's facts. You ain't got to convince me. It's these people that's following Daryl Morey and D'Antoni and Steve Nash that believe that that's a mid-range is the worst shot in the league. Like, when I first heard somebody say that, man, I was like, man, this is crazy, man. Crazy. Evan Mobley. Kevin Love was a franchise player before he went to Cleveland. Yeah, he was on his way to being a franchise player. He was getting a lot of 20 and 20 games, man. He was leading the league in rebounding. He was hitting shots, man. He had the 3-point shot when he was at UCLA. Only thing he didn't have at UCLA is he wasn't in shape. He was a bigger version of himself. So when he got to Minnesota, he came there as a post player that could step out and hit the three. Then he started getting himself in better shape and and was able to turn himself exclusively into a shooter. That's amazing work that he did. Kevin Love is a good player, really good player, man. And it just sucks that when you play in that system that big men are not valued in that system because we need everybody at the 3-point line to keep the paint wide open. But one thing I give LeBron credit for is that he was able to come off the ball. He didn't have off-ball skills when he first got to Miami, right? He didn't. He was trying to develop a post game. He went and worked out with Hakeem during the summer and all that stuff. But he's continuously worked on his game. And now when you look at him now, he can't dominate the game like he did in his prime with the ball as much as he want to. And he do a lot of work off the ball. You got to give him credit for that. He got more off ball skills now than he did ever in his career, man. I see this man posting up. I see this man. I mean, I got to give LeBron a lot of credit. And when I used to criticize this style of play that Luka is playing, I used to throw LeBron's name in it because he's the originator of this style. He's the one who made this style famous, right? But I don't use his name in this conversation no more because he's done so much work to get off the ball. And that's the only reason why the Lakers is playing decent basketball now, because they're able to now let Westbrook be a point guard because LeBron has come off the ball. So many great things happen when your primary scorer comes off the ball. You're never supposed to have your primary scorer be your point guard. It's the dumbest offense in the world, man. But yeah, I just wanted to come here and talk about that, man. I think 60, 21, and 10 is phenomenal. But if you have to put up 60 points, desperation, last second shots, missing free throws on purpose, getting the rebound. Like what he did tonight in the fourth quarter was equivalent to 3 onside kicks to send the game into overtime. Like they really had to come down and hit a desperation 3, foul, come down and hit another desperation 3, foul, come down, get fouled, hit the first free throw, miss the second one, get the rebound, put it up to tie the game and go into overtime. They had to do all of it. That's like 3 onside kicks to get the ball back and then score. Right? He had to do all of that and then go into overtime and then put up 60, 21, and 10 to be the New York Knicks team that's slightly above 500 and didn't have their number 1 and number 3 best player. They didn't have Brunson or RJ Barrett. And you needed desperation shot, free throw, missed free throw, rebound, desperation shot, and overtime, 60 points, 21 rebounds, and 10 assists to beat the Knicks without Brunson and without RJ Barrett. And people go get up tomorrow morning and celebrate that on ESPN. Man, give me a break, man. All right, man. We'll talk about the next one. I guess we'll be talking about this a little bit again tomorrow, but appreciate y'all for rocking with me, man. We'll catch y'all on the